Welcome, friends. I'm just doing a little bit of math on the other screen here. How about we bring me in here? Can I not be part of my own live stream today? 97.3 million Americans right there. That's that number you see on your screen there. 97.3 million Americans accept the result of this election. President Trump just tweeted out that people won't accept the result of the election. I don't know how many people make people for Trump, but that's what you have. Hi, everybody. Hey, what's going on? See my salad? So healthy. I'm not a Ducks fan, by the way. This is just a sweatshirt that I have. Oh, look at that. That's looking at it on camera. Hold on. That's a webbed foot. It's a D. This is hard to do in reverse, but that's a D, and that's a webbed foot, like a duck. Now I know. Okay, so how are you guys? I didn't broadcast at all yesterday. Took the day off to specifically, I had a lot of nothing to do, and I got it done. I feel very accomplished about that. Watched a little bit of The Patriot. I watched a little bit of Patriot on Amazon, which is a terrible name for it. A terrible, terrible name. I can come up with 40 different names because even I, huge fan of the show, almost done with season 2, and I've watched it before, but willing to watch it again. That's how good it is. Even I just called it The Patriot. It is just Patriot, and it's brilliant. Turn off this broadcast right now and go watch Patriot. I'm just getting my salad. For those of you who don't have the Amazon Prime, I'll continue. So what's going on? That's somebody wearing a mask. So Hannity, just watching a little bit of Sean Insanity, and it's just funny. So Kaylee had a press conference yesterday. Maybe we'll watch that. Mr. Biden, President-elect, had one. I did not. Had one today. We could watch that. Let's see how long that one is. Hold on a second here, kids. Let's bring up, let's see. Let's go to the full event here on the Caspan and see what Mr. Biden said about that. 24 minutes. You guys want to watch Biden, or do you want to watch Kaylee, or do you want to watch a little bit of Sean Hannity, which featured Kaylee and Ronna McDaniel in the same interview? I'll show you Sean Hannity right now because there's a fundamental issue with what the Republicans are doing tonight. And it was explained to Sean Hannity by our friend Reitz. And I'm not sure he really wanted to hear it. So let's go find Hannity here. Oh, for goodness sake, it should just pop up right away because I was busy watching it. But let's pull up Hannity. And, just show me the one there we go. And let's go
away that word, governor.
Oh, you be quiet. Everything. The so-called, everything is so-called. Mail-in ballot nightmare. His graphics are the worst, too. Just absolutely terrible. Corrupt institutions. It's two different fonts. There's a shadow, and it's on a bloody shroud of Turin? Like, what are we... Kelly first, then first I'll show you a little bit of Reince Priebus here, and let's see if I can dig up. It's not showing me previews, so we'll just have to jump around a little bit here, kids. So he goes right into Kaylee. Let's just see where
it has to meet a certain threat.
Oh, this is exactly where we want to be. Let's go back a few seconds.
Every single vote matters.
This is all talking about the whole hour is about voter fraud. I haven't listened to the whole hour. I got to Kaylee and was like, oh, you know what? Maybe the kids will want to share this. Hi, Andy. Hi, Stephanie. Hi, Babe. Good to see y'all. This is a clamp, and doing this on my fingers, it hurts. So I'm going to stop that. And go right back to Mr. Reince Priebus.
Matters, and you can bring each one of your complaints to.
Okay, so this is they're talking about.
You should have access.
Yeah. He's talking about how you do the voter fraud and you protest and blah, blah, blah. You bring the actions before the courts. Here's the deal. The Supreme Court can overturn the results of an election in a state by either confirming or staying a lower court's order. They did this in 2000. They overturned the results of the election, or at least they determined the results of the election, depending on who you believe, because Florida was decided by about 500 votes. That was huge. And they were able to prove that through the recounts, it wasn't really a matter of fraud. It was the way Florida did things, and the hanging chads and the doubt. And boy, we got to certify at some point. We're up against this deadline. So keep that in mind. It was an extremely close election in Florida, and giving Florida to Bush ended up giving Bush the election, just the way the electoral math worked.
To make sure when someone says, I live on this street and this is my name, you should have the ability in the polling place during the poll watching to observe that part of the process. In fact, almost every part of the process, except for obviously how somebody votes. But to your question on, do you have to have the threshold of votes in order to bring the action? The answer is no. You can bring, every single vote matters, and you can bring each one of your complaints to the Election Commission, and then you can appeal each one of the...
Yeah, so you for every vote, every single vote, you can bring a complaint. It doesn't have to be a whole batch of votes. It can be one vote. You can bring that complaint in Wisconsin. Every state has its own little set of laws.
Complaints to the actual court of appeal within that jurisdiction. Where things do get dicey as far as, do I have the ability do I have the ability do I have the ability do I have the ability
Turn out okay. Are we back? Can we do this? I'm not there. Hold on. Hold on, kids. I think we're back. And we are, I'm just waiting to see me on YouTube to make sure we're rolling. I think we're rolling. We're rolling. Okay. We just crashed. My software just crashed, and I'm not sure why. Let me. I can't even check it. Can I check it? Yeah. Let me check. Check for updates. No updates currently available. I don't know why. I don't know why the software is crashing on us, but if you're watching this, we just broadcast a little bit. You didn't miss anything. We haven't really gotten into what I wanted to talk about tonight because I don't really have something that I want to talk about tonight. But if you're watching on any of the other platforms, yes, all legal votes. Counting all legal votes. Thank you, Mr. Vix. We were just about to get to a point where Reince Priebus was going to... It's actually... The interesting thing about Reince Priebus' name is it's the same forwards or backwards. If you say it, you record it in your phone and then play it backwards, it sounds exactly the same. Okay, so your end is fine, guys. I had a software glitch. No need to go back and watch the previous version. If you want something that always catches up with you, check out the link on the YouTube. Let's see. Oh, that's much better. Okay, so go to youtube.com/KevinLeeFather. youtube.com/KevinLeeFather. That's the best place to watch. But if, like Mr. Vix, you're on Twitter or you're watching this delayed, then it should be fine. But anyway, don't bother going back and watching the first part because we didn't really talk to anything about anything. But we are listening to Reince Priebus on Sean and Hannity, and here it is.
10 votes here in Wisconsin that we know are fraud.
Okay.
Jurisdiction. Where things do get dicey as far as, do I have the ability to bring a case to the Supreme Court that alleges I've got...
Mr. Vix, I want to address that. I saw what you said in the chat room there. GOP donors paid a postal worker $130K to fake that he witnessed voter fraud. That is not accurate. What happened is that a gentleman said, yeah, I witnessed a voter fraud, and he signed an affidavit. Now, according to the House Oversight Committee, and the Washington Post wrote an article about it based on the House Oversight Committee, the U.S. Postal Inspector General went and spoke to the whistleblower, who then recanted his story and said, actually, I didn't see that. Now that whistleblower just published a video a short while ago saying, I didn't recant anything. So the democratically controlled House Oversight Committee is saying that the IG for the U.S. Postal Service said that he recanted. Who came to the staffers today and said he recanted. But the guy is saying, no, I didn't. So we don't know at this point until we don't know that he retracted the story. Now, where the 130K comes in is someone started a GoFund page for him. Wasn't him, apparently, according to GoFundMe, who started the page. GOP donors, or we assume GOP donors, have donated $130,000 to that page. The page has been shut down by GoFundMe. The guy's not receiving any of it. That's where we stand right now, what we know. That could have changed from the time that I started telling this story until now. So no, the guy didn't get paid $130,000 to tell a fake story. That's not accurate. That being said, go ahead and investigate it. But will it change any votes? We have the votes. Just run them through the machine again.
10 votes here in Wisconsin that we know are fraud, and the court's looking at it and say, wait a minute, but you lost by 19,000. Well, the court's probably not going to take jurisdiction over that case. Doesn't mean you don't have standing to bring it. It just means that the U.S. Supreme Court's probably not going to listen to it. So it's important at some point that your fraud has to meet a certain threshold before you get to the point of appealing the state, the Supreme Court of Wisconsin to the U.S. Supreme Court. So there's some practicality involved as well.
All right, great announcement.
And that's why Reince Priebus was fired, because he told the truth there. The Supreme Court isn't going to take a case in Wisconsin unless it's more than 19,000 votes. It's not going to take a case in Pennsylvania unless it's more than 40,000 votes or 20,000 in Arizona or whatever it is, whatever the difference in the election is. So all of this is for naught. With all of these allegations, and we're going to see in a second here, Kaylee's going to come on and 500 pages of affidavits or whatever. There's nothing amongst all of this that comes anywhere close to flipping the election. And you'd have to flip it in multiple states. It's a complete waste of time. Now, here's what's going on. I'm getting multiple emails and texts to contribute to the Trump Defend the Election Defense Fund to pay for all these lawyers. The lawyers are costing very little. Rudy Giuliani is working for free. Still don't understand why. But, he goes all out with his expenses. I mean, he has his press conferences at the Four Seasons, Total Landscaping. He's really, really big into spending the money. He's a man, he does things his own way. He still wakes up in the morning, puts his pants on one leg at a time, tucks in his own shirt at multiple times throughout the day. Does a lot of tucking. Hose for $1.30. I don't know what that is. 130K seems to be make it threshold for getting effed. Oh my goodness. Marcy. Language. So all of this is going nowhere unless someone can prove, if you could prove Michigan and Pennsylvania, and you could somehow overturn both Michigan and Pennsylvania, Biden still gets to 270. So good luck with that, kids.
Analysis, good information, because, if fundamental laws like, partisan observers deny that opportunity, it takes away people's confidence and integrity in any vote counting. Just common sense. All right, thank you, Reince Priebus. Now, Kayleigh.
Yeah, didn't address it. Goes right on to the next interview.
McEnany says in 2016 they've actually gone back and.
So Reince Priebus says basically there's no point in what we're doing here. Supreme Court's not going to touch it. That's the way the Supreme Court works.
Look, 1% of mail-in ballots were rejected. Now, if you look at.
Do you guys want me to tell you what's going to happen with the Georgia Senate seat? I predicted Trump's election. I predicted this election. And I'm just waiting. I think I'm going to be pretty accurate. I can't remember what I wrote on the Facebook, but I'm pretty good at this. And I think I know what's going to happen in Georgia too, but I hope I'm wrong. Do you guys want to hear what I think is going to happen in Georgia and my rationalization for it? Or we can just go on right to Kayleigh McEnany. If someone wants to know, let me know. Because I don't want to depress you guys, because it's not good. I'm fair. I watch and I do the math. People want to hear. Okay. The lights will go out in Georgia, David. That is exactly what's going to happen. The prophets have said so. So here's what you got going on in the Georgia. By the way, originally when I checked the Georgia website right after the election, it said that you had to register to vote in Georgia by October 5th in order to vote in the election or in any special elections and runoffs. The Wall Street Journal is saying otherwise. I don't know if that's true. If somebody wants to, David, do you have a fact check on that? When you have to, like if I was to move, my kids can realistically live in Georgia for a couple of months, several months. Their mom lives out there. She's got rooms for them. They could just head out there and vote. Be 2 more votes. You do not. Okay. But anyway, here's what's going to happen in Georgia. So there's 2 Senate seats up for grabs in Georgia. And if the Democrats take both those Senate seats, it's a 50-50 tie in the Senate. Because the Democrats will have 48 plus 2 independents who caucus with the Democrats. And then the Republicans will have 50. So that's 50 against 50. That's a tie in the Senate. It's a ridiculous body to begin with. That's another topic. So you got yourself a tie. The Democrats win the 50-50 because the Vice President of the United States gets to cast deciding votes. That doesn't mean everything's going to change because the Democrats aren't always united on their ideas, and you've got sort of renegade senators in red states who will decide that they're just not going to vote with the Democrats on certain issues. Like you couldn't pass any gun legislations because you've got Senator Manchin. Joe Manchin will not vote to stop gun sales in any way, shape, or form because he represents a heavily red gun district. I should say state. And that's pretty much all the states. So here's the thing. Americans believe in one thing when it comes to democracy. The basic idea, and it's not true. It's not true at all about this country. But the basic belief that Americans have is that their democracy makes things what? That their democracy is what for all people? That the idea, the motivation behind the democracy and the Constitution make sure that everybody gets their what? What is fair? Thank you, Liz. You're exactly right, Lizzie Dog. Americans love fairness. We just want, well, that's not fair. And I've told you before, the president's most used uncommon word is unfair during his presidency. You can track that. You can look up every word the president says. You can make word bubbles. Fair and equal. Fair. You guys, yeah, you know. Here's the deal. You've got your 19 to 25% of Atlanta or of Georgia, rather. They're Democrats. Boop. Out of the question. Okay, then you got your Republicans. Boop. Out of the question. Then you've got your independents. And unfortunately, Georgia has a few more Republicans than Democrats, but it's hard to say how many elected, and Stacey Abrams did a wonderful job of registering people. Here's the trouble. People who don't really have a dog in the fight are going to see that there's 2 on the ballot, and a lot of them are going to say, oh, well, you know what? I'm just going to give this party one and this party one. And that will be enough in an extremely close election to flip the results. And the Democrats need absolutely full support on both of their candidates. I hope I'm wrong. I do need a fair cut, Lizzie. That's very funny. Ha ha. Let's take a look at, I'm going to pull up the presidential election right here. Let's go out to president. By the way, Biden has won Arizona. I don't know why the media won't call it, because they decide who the president is. Of course, Fox News called it way back at, 9 o'clock on election night. Let's go down to GA. And GA right now, you're looking at, it's 49.5 to 49.2. So 0.3%. That's awfully darn close. Now, the thing that can give us hope about Georgia is that by January 5th, it should be established after all the recounts and whatever that Trump is going away, that he has lost this thing. He can fight it all the way. But once the Supreme Court says, like, no, not interested. Even if they take it, again, you have to flip multiple states. Once that's established, his base, which is all about Trump and nothing else, and they will turn on anybody else, his base isn't going to show up for the election. Which is why both Republican senators that are up for election, both re-election actually, they were both incumbent. Kelly Loeffler, there was a special appointment, so she didn't really get elected the first time. Both of them have embraced this whole, oh, the election's rigged. And they have asked that the Republican Secretary of State in their own state resign because the election was such a disaster. So they have gone balls deep in this one for Trump because they need his voters. So you've got the fairness doctrine versus how many of those people voting in Georgia are actually diehard Trumpers that aren't going to be bothered to get out to the election. Here's my question. And I don't know if anyone has this answer yet, but maybe one of you can look it up. Is it going to be mail-in? If you voted mail-in in the general election, do you automatically get sent a ballot for the special election? I don't know the answer to that. I know in several states, then you're in good shape. I don't think it'll happen, says at random. I'm not sure even what you guys were chatting about there. Let me pull this up and we'll take a look. So, I don't think that the Democrats get both senators. I hope I'm wrong. I have been wrong before. This one time I thought I was mistaken. Turns out I was right. So, it's an old joke. Don't bother thinking about it because my take on what? I don't know what you guys are talking about. He's got a lot of legal and financial trouble ahead of him. Who? I think Stacey Abrams will make it happen. Stacey might. She did well. Heavenly Father, your take. Good point at random. What do you think of rumors of rerun in 2024 for Trump? No, I think Trump's getting arrested. He's rich enough that he'll probably stay out of jail, but the state of New York is going to go after him hard. And the DOJ might investigate him from the next. I don't think that. See, here's the thing. Biden's not going to be in charge of that. Biden will appoint an AG. Go ahead and throw in your pick, whatever it might be. Okay. The question is if the Senate is controlled by the Republicans, are they going to approve anybody? Because remember, they kept the Supreme Court vacant for 11 months. Yeah, he's already named. He's not named, but we know it's him in the Cohen case because in the court documents, it says this candidate who went on to win the presidency. That's one guy. Anyway, let's go back to Hannity. I've given you my take on the Democratic candidates for the Senate. Joanna says, I think he'll either be dead, in jail, or too disgraced to run again. I am so anti-thinking about 2024 right now. I don't know if the Republicans are going to have any shot whatsoever in 2024. I think the only way the Republicans have a shot in 2024 is if Biden decides not to run again or has passed on and they nominate Kamala. I think the Democrats lose with Kamala. End of story. I know, she's awesome, she's great, blah, blah, blah. But I said Hillary would lose. I'm saying right now, Kamala will lose in 2024. That being said, we could have another virus before then. Ivanka? No. Nobody comes close to the aura of Donald Trump. Nobody else could get away with that crap. And I'm sorry, but Ivanka's just does not have it.
That margin, well, that could easily tip the scale.
I'm hoping Cory Booker gets his chance. I'm hoping Pete Buttigieg gets a chance. I'm hoping Stacey Abrams gets a chance. there's a lot of other people I'd like to see, but I don't think Kamala is likable enough to pull in the red states.
In the following state.
I could be totally wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I'm almost always right with this election stuff.
States: Pennsylvania, Arizona, Wisconsin, and Georgia. Kayleigh also is going to join us in a second. Wisconsin's primary alone. Take that, for example.
Yeah.
The rejection rate was 2%, about 23,000 ballots. That's less than the margin the president would need to make up the difference. Here with reaction, RNC Chairwoman Ronna McDaniel and, well, White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany. All right, Kayleigh, for example, the rejection.
Couple of fundamental issues with what Sean is asking here, but just watch Kayleigh's face. She's coming in right above me. Just watch her face when she realizes the red light came on. Just watch.
Rate was 2%, about 23,000 ballots. That's less than the margin the president would need to make up the difference. Here with reaction, RNC Chairwoman Ronna McDaniel and, well, White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany. All right, Kayleigh, let's start with you. Explain what those percentages mean.
That is the look. That is the look that the killer makes just before he kills you. Kayleigh McEnany.
About 23,000 ballots. That's less than the margin the president would need to make up the difference. Here with reaction, RNC Chairwoman Ronna McDaniel and, well, White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany. All right, Kayleigh, let's start with you. Explain what those percentages mean and explain you're in the...
Well, 1% means 1%, and 2%, that means 2%. What those percentages mean?
Process of getting these affidavits, you have, for example, you brought a pile of them with you tonight.
That's right. I did, Sean. We keep hearing the drumbeat of where is the evidence? Right here, Sean. 234 pages of sworn affidavits. These are real people, real allegation, signed with notaries who are
That's the health care plan she's holding.
alleging the following, among other contentions. They are alleging, this is one county, Wayne County, Michigan.
Yeah.
They are saying that there was a batch of ballots where 60% had the same signature. They are saying that 35 ballots had no voter record, but they were counted anyway. That 50 ballots were run multiple times through a tabulation machine. That one woman...
Tabulation machines wouldn't allow that. They all have barcodes. That one ballot would be thrown out. You can't vote twice in any modern election system.
said her son was deceased, but never...
Lizzie's got a good point. There's no binder on that. So that's like some kind of Obama virus plan. It's not going to work. It's just paper. I wish I had that clip ready to go, Lizzie. I don't. I know what you're talking about, though. What am I eating? I'm eating a salad with a little bit of delicious turkey chili and some fake crab for a little protein. And a bunch of cottage cheese that I found in the back of my fridge that I'd almost forgotten about. I don't know that cottage cheese ever goes bad. I didn't even look at the expiration date. But I think it's like from Costco. It's like this big. And I can't remember going to Costco and buying cottage cheese. So could have been the neighbor's fridge. The house is right in, yeah.
Nevertheless, somehow voted. These are one of many, many allegations in one county.
Voted.
A county no less.
Let's go back, because I've already lost track.
Anyway, that 50 ballots.
What's going on with her face? Okay, you know the thing where if you can see the whites above someone's eyes, they're crazy? What? Look how much you can see the whites below her pupil. What does that mean?
Were run multiple times through a tabulation machine. That one woman said her son was deceased, but nevertheless somehow voted. These are one of...
So we have in our room one of the explanations for someone who dies managing to vote. Producer Joanna lost her father a couple of weeks ago, and she's told us this story before. He managed to vote right before he passed on, which was his final wish, and he won. So good for him. Good for all of us, quite frankly. But that has been shown to be the case in at least 3 different instances of, look at this, dead people who voted. In another case, in Pennsylvania, the Republicans released 50 different people. And Daniel Dale and CNN did a fact check on it. 37 of them were dead and didn't vote. Another X number were alive and voted, and then 5 or 6 were alive and didn't vote. But there were no dead people voting. There is a case, and we watched the Four Seasons landscaping company press conference the other day where Corey Lewandowski said, "Oh, this Denise Ondick." He said Ondish. It's Ondick. We never mind. There's a joke there, but I'm not even going to grab it. It turns out that, yes, this lady did fill out, her daughter helped her fill out the application for a ballot. She died. The state got the application, Allegheny County got the application, sent her a ballot, and somehow the ballot came back and was registered. So we don't know if it actually counted in the vote or not. But anyway, the state says they did get the ballot. So, okay, you guys all caught that one. I didn't know if anyone did. And that's why I love you deeply. So the state recorded it, registered it, and no one's really sure at this point if that means that the vote counted or not. Here's the thing. She's a Trump supporter. And her 77-year-old husband doesn't really have an explanation. And the daughter saying, look, my parents are not criminals. They wouldn't do that kind of thing. But I'm betting good money that the dad got it and just signed it and sent it off. Not thinking that anybody would ever check on this. Not thinking that Corey Lewandowski and the Republicans would be like, oh, what about, let's go through the obituaries and see if we can get it. Then there was another case of someone faking a dead person's signature. And that was a Trump supporter. So that's 2 off the board in Pennsylvania for Trump. Doesn't help.
Many allegations in one county, in a county no less, where poll watchers
just watch her eyes.
Ballots.
It's crazy. She's a crazy person, isn't she? She's crazy, right, guys? Just watch her. Just one person with a poll worker in one county.
Were run multiple times through a tabulation machine. That one woman said her son was deceased, but nevertheless somehow voted. These are one of many allegations in one county, in a county no less, where poll watchers were in many cases threatened with racial harassment. They were pushed out of the way, and Democrat challengers were handing out documents.
Democratic.
How to distract GOP challengers. These are real, and anyone who cares about transparency and the integrity of the system should want this to pursue to the discovery phase.
You know, I would imagine...
Should want this to pursue to the... Is that English? I'm not a lawyer, and I haven't played one on TV. Have I? No, I don't think I have. Does anybody know? Do we have a lawyer in the house? I know we have a couple of lawyers that watch on a regular basis. If you're out there, jump on whatever platform you're using and help us out here. Is that lawyer talk to pursue? I know what the discovery phase is. I know, but is that? I just don't think that's English. Want this to pursue to the discovery phase. Want us to pursue this to the discovery phase would make sense. Okay. I don't think she was ever pro-Biden. She was pro-Ted Cruz.
Ronna McDaniel.
No, I'll wait. I'm thinking of the other one. What's her face? George's wife.
If this was...
The Eagles fan. Come on, I want to get this name right. Kellyanne Conway.
The Democrats and the margins were this thin.
Thank you, Adrian.
And you had this many people. You know, a sworn affidavit. Well, you do that in... Are you going to get 240 people willing to risk the charge of perjury to sign an affidavit and say that I saw something I didn't see? That's a stretch for me. Then you add to that.
It's really not. First off, nobody ever gets perjury charges. Somebody will get a perjury charge, but an affidavit and saying like, could it have been this way? Here's the other thing. I've read a few of the affidavits. They did this. Other side. No, we didn't. Yeah, I saw it. Well, you were a little ways back, and well, they carried in suspicious packages. They were ballot instructions. It's he said, she said, or he said, he said, or she said, she said. They said. So it's the affidavits themselves don't actually mean anything.
At the
I've been in court cases before, and people say all kinds of stuff in affidavits. They don't have to have any bearing on the truth. They're supposed to. But let's be honest. When people take that pledge, I swear to tell the whole truth, that a lot of times they're going to lie. Why? Because lying benefits them, and everybody's out to be what? Fair. No. Everyone's in it for themselves, which is why the United States isn't fair. Moving on.
Voting laws about partisan observers can be there for the entire vote count. And we know in many states that didn't happen. I'm trying to wrap my head around how do you...
So in, I think it was Pennsylvania, whatever, there's a court case, Judge Paul. I read it a few days ago, but it's kind of funny because they asked the Republican, the judge asked the Republican lawyer, so were there any Republicans there present observing the count? And he said there were not zero observers. Not zero. Oh, talking good about, yeah, DM that to me, Lizzie. We'll watch it.
Remedy this to the point where anybody is going to believe any results that this has any integrity or that people can have confidence in.
Yeah, it's at this point, sign an affidavit, get yourself on Fox News. Get yourself a GoFundMe page, raise $130,000. Not Abbott, but the vice, who's the guy? Let me use a sentence. The lieutenant governor of Texas, his name is Dan. He's the same as a sports announcer. We've talked about this before, guys. David, you'll know this. Somebody will Google this by the time I've already said it. Lieutenant Governor of Texas, Dan Patrick. Thank you. That was my head that Googled that. Dan Patrick has offered $1 million for anyone who can prove voter fraud. $1 million. You don't think someone's willing to risk a little perjury? Thank you, Marcy. Marcy is correct.
And then you compare it to states like Florida and Ohio, two swing states. You got to call those races, 8:30 or 9 in Florida, for example.
What?
Yeah, I mean, this is where you saw.
Did Sean have a point? I just completely missed it.
Politico put out a poll that 70% of Republicans don't have faith in the results of this election right now.
I wonder why.
And this is why. It's been rigged from the beginning. Rigged from the laws that were being
Or you've been telling them it's been rigged because everything has been completely legal.
passed in the name of COVID to create a porous election. Rigged in the sense that they kicked Republicans out of poll watching and observing. Why do you do that if you have nothing to hide? And now you have a media.
You just kind of answered your own question. People were kicked out of observing counts and polling stations in the name of the coronavirus, to use your phrase. You can only have so many people, according to state law, in a polling station. And when you have crowds of people chanting "stop the count," they can't be in the room. That's just the way it is right now. Sorry. Got a virus, though. I mean, a vaccine. And they waited till after Trump.
That's rigging it again by saying we're not going to even listen to these stories. We're not even going to validate the 11,000 incident reports that we have, the 500 affidavits we have across these states, people testifying under oath how they were disenfranchised from this problem. That's the problem. And the other thing is, it is stealing. When you validate a vote that shouldn't be in, you are stealing from a voter that voted legally. So
if I vote for one person and another guy votes for another person, he's stealing my vote. Got it.
you see these people in Detroit saying we saw batches of votes that were invalidated. They had the wrong name. They didn't live there. They weren't a resident. They were deceased. And then you put them back in the pile of valid votes, which is what some of these affidavits maintain. That is stealing. You are stealing from people who are voting legally. And the media right now, by refusing to report on this.
No, this isn't the clip where she gets cut off. That was yesterday. Was it? Yeah, yesterday.
Is stealing.
We can watch that too.
Our faith in the election process. Tell the story. Talk about the people who are being disenfranchised. People across this country deserve to have election. And
Good Juju, this is from 9 o'clock Fox. This is what we're watching is on 9 o'clock. Good Juju's a Trumper. Trump said there was going to be lots of evidence on the Sean Hannity show. That's what we're watching, Good Juju.
integrity of faith in
So far, no witnesses.
our election.
In fact, I was in and out of the show, but I can promise you, no witnesses.
System and believe that there is election integrity, and that's why the RNC is going to pursue this to the very end. We can never let this happen again.
You said 11,000 incident reports. Explain that.
11,000.
Let's go back.
Affidavits maintain. That is stealing. You are stealing from people who are voting legally. And the media, right now, by refusing to report on this, is stealing our faith in the election process. Tell the story. Talk about the people who are being...
Dude, you're on the media right now. This is the #1 cable news program in the country. Your voice right now is being heard by millions of Americans.
Disenfranchised. People across this country deserve to have election integrity, faith in our election system, and believe that there is election integrity. And that's why the RNC is going to pursue this to the very end. We can never let this happen again.
You said 11,000 incident reports. Explain that.
11,000.
I hate to do this, guys, but Ronna McDaniel, 11,000 is 11,000. I never thought I would ring the bell for her, but that's... Earlier, I was disappointed that Kaylee didn't explain the percentage. What does 1% mean? It's all the per capitas. Hey, what's up? Nothing? Okay. Kevinly daughter came in, but she just wants to grab something.
So 11,000 people have come forward and said, or incidents of they were at a poll site and these things. So we vet them, we get statements from them, and then we put it in front of the attorneys, and then we get affidavits. It is a...
Okay, so it's 11,000 people who probably called their little hotline, their fraud hotline, which is also deluged with people just making up stories, just having some fun.
Long process. And remember, just as Ryan said, the canvasses aren't even done right now. So during the canvass process in Detroit alone, we are coming across absentee ballots that were cast that have no address, that don't correlate with a precinct. So these are things that we're discovering the more we go. We don't even have all the information. The data teams haven't been able to go in and analyze the software. That's why these subpoenas are so important.
How could a absentee ballot not correlate with a precinct? You have to be registered to receive an absentee ballot. I don't understand what she's saying.
Important. So it is a long process, and people need to be patient. And the media keeps saying, where's the evidence? Where's the evidence? Because they're not giving us time to show it. But even the evidence we're putting forward, they're deciding, oh, we're not going to report it, or we're going to break away from press conferences. And we don't want to hear from these 500 people who have signed affidavits.
That media was Fox News. And that little girl was Brit Hume.
Talking.
No, it wasn't. It was the other guy. I'm sorry. No, it wasn't Brit Hume. It was Brute. We can watch it. But anyway, oh, what's his name? So bad with names, guys, and I apologize for that. That's just me.
About what they saw with this election.
Isn't it a lot of it, Kaylee, when you get down to it, if all of a sudden we'd never done this before, where you're going to have people that didn't even solicit a ballot, they're being mailed ballots, okay, are we checking the rolls? I understand, for example, in the state of Georgia, that there's a case building there where, for example, there had been a lawsuit, Georgia Democratic Party, the Democratic National Senatorial Committee and Congressional Committee, and they came to an agreement, and the agreement would allow, they have one database that every day of voters' signature is checked by. But then they had in Georgia, you requested an absentee ballot, that as long as the application signature matched the signature of the person that voted, that would be okay, when the whole purpose would be what's the one on file, isn't it?
Yeah, it's exactly right. And then you have states like Pennsylvania where they just threw...
No, it was Cavuto. It was Neil Cavuto yesterday at the 1 o'clock hour. Thank you.
...away signature verification altogether. These are key...
Pennsylvania did not do away with signature verification. That's complete bullshit.
methods we use to make sure the people voting are actually the people who are deserving of the enfranchisement of that ballot. Here in Michigan, again, one county, 234 pages of affidavits. In this case, there are multiple eyewitnesses who said we went to the poll books to go find the voter. We observed them go to the poll books, not find the voter, and enter in a new entry with the birth date of January 1st, 1900.
That is the default birth date. They're supposed to enter that into the system. That's the way it works. That's fine.
Tell me how that works. And
well, you go to the computer and you go, and you lose whatever you were watching. That's the way that works. I was hoping I wasn't actually attached to that at the time. Hold on, Bargain Mansions is trending. Where's my you were watching? Where's my continue watching? How come I don't have a continue watching? YouTube. Come on. Where's my continue watch? Oh, there it is. So angry. So angry at people.
Go to the poll books, not find the voter, and enter in a new entry with the birth date of January 1st, 1900. Tell me how that works. Integrity in the system.
That's a very happy old person.
That way, everyone knows, oh, we don't have this voter's birth date because nobody 120 years old is voting. That's why they do that. And that way, it brings up a flag in the system, and they can go like, oh, we should check on this voter and make sure that they should be registered. However, if they shouldn't be registered, they wouldn't have gotten the ballot in the first place. The whole thing is an effort to try and help Americans, vote, which is their constitutional right.
Look, I think
that is a very happy old person.
Yeah, but Ron,
it's not. It's a person of anyway.
At the end of the day, when this gets to be a court challenge, they're going to look at the law. For example, one of the reasons I think the case in Pennsylvania is very strong, the pending case before the Supreme Court, is because now they're going to say, well, okay, constitutionally, we know state legislators, they're the ones that set up the rules for their state. Okay, that means.
Yeah, but they don't set up the rules; they pass the laws. That's not the right way to say it. Here's something from
advising a campaign. Which of the Democrats would you want to go head to head against?
I would say Joe Biden is who I'd want to go head to head against for the reasons you just articulated. That being said, I think the Republicans run into a problem if it is Joe Biden and if it is maybe a Trump on the other side, because Joe Biden, one of the things he is remarkable at is really kind of being a man of the people and resonating with middle-class voters, feeling like coming off as human. His gaffes, as much as we make fun of them, to a certain extent they make him look human. So in that sense, he's likable. So while, I think Joe Biden would be an easier person to beat, I think, at the same time, we've got Hillary Clinton's mistrust or mistruths. We have someone who is not a good politician. So it kind of is a toss-up, really. But I'd say at the end of the day, probably Joe, although if Trump is against Joe, I think the juxtaposition of kind of the man of the people and kind of this tycoon is a problem. Although Donald Trump remarkably is coming off as a man of the people despite being this, wealthy business tycoon.
It's one of the things
She was right. That is remarkable. Let's go back to her now. She's all in Trump's court because he's a man of the people.
That a governor or a secretary of state can't unilaterally decide, well, we're going to accept ballots 3 days beyond what the normal due date is without changing the law. Then it's going to be, okay, I would think you'd have a pretty good case if the law says partisan observers can observe and you could prove systematically they weren't allowed to observe at all. That would be a violation of the law as it is written and as the Constitution establishes that state legislators set up. Isn't that the best arguments you guys have?
I agree.
Okay, that's fine. So the acceptance of ballots was 3 days past the election day, as long as they were postmarked and indicated that they were mailed before election day or on election day, and that's fine. And if you take that to the Supreme Court saw it and said, okay, we'll separate those ballots and we'll decide that if we have to. Here's the problem. Take those ballots out of the equation. Biden still wins in Pennsylvania. It doesn't make a difference to the race. And they know that. They know which ballots were cast, or they know which ballots arrived after the election, and they know that count, and that's fine.
These poll watchers and observers being kicked out of that process, we need to know what happened in those rooms when they were gone. It's really hard to go.
And we never will. So
go look at the ballots because we weren't in there. We don't know what happened to those ballots when these people were removed and unable to look at.
They do, because there were other Republicans who were there, official Republicans.
So that is an election integrity issue. It's a violation of the law, and it's going to be up to these courts and these legislators to figure out how we remedy this. But I will say, if you have nothing to hide, why are you kicking our people out of county?
Again, pandemic.
Facility after county facility, and in Detroit.
1 million cases in the last 9 days.
It was only the mail ballots that were coming into this Detroit center. So these were all the mail-in ballots. It was an adjudication center. And that is where most of these votes were coming in. And you saw in these affidavits, some of these coming in the middle of the night, not being able to observe. It's a huge problem. It's systematic, and we need to get to the bottom of it.
All right. And
it's systemic, not systematic.
Kayleigh, you talked to the president. You both have talked to the president today. Where is the president as it relates to? Because I got to imagine this has been a record for any Republican candidate ever running. Up to nearly 72 million people now voted for this president that are very angry tonight, that are hearing from people.
Not all of them, 70% of them, and we don't know that they're actually angry. They might be upset that their guy lost. I can understand that.
That are saying, well, I was told I have to stand 100 feet back or 20 feet back, or even, they could have made allowances, social distancing, or okay,
there's an argument to be made that it is systematic, but that would have to be systemic to begin with.
Put the ballot over here. We're opening this ballot, okay, at a distance, put it over.
But to be systematic, it would have to be duplicated at multiple voting centers across, and so far they're not saying that happened.
There, you can verify it, both sides, partisan observers, law adhered to. But that didn't happen, did it?
No, it didn't happen. And the president wants justice for the 70
I'm going to say no. I'm going to strike that down. I don't think systematic makes sense there.
million plus forgotten men and women in this country who showed up to vote.
Because that's what she's describing is not inherent in the system. That's not part of it. And to do it systematically, you would have to do it at multiple locations and consistently. Even if you did it just at one consistent location, it would have to be consistent. It is high dramatic.
For him, who deserve to have their allegations heard by a court of law. To Rana's point, you had 687,000 ballots without poll watchers who were able to observe. They were a football field away from observing. To your point, Sean, our Constitution is crystal clear that legislatures determine the time, manner, and place of an election. And then you have a hack Secretary of State and Secretary of State Bookvar in Pennsylvania who has tweeted horrible things about this president, misrepresenting what she would do to ballots to the Supreme Court, only to then be rebuked by Justice Alito. The Constitution matters. These men and women matter. Their voices will be heard.
And for 4 years,
and we heard millions of voices on election night, and they said Biden, please. Millions. That's enough Hannity, I think, for now. Let's just check out the question and answer period with Mr. Biden from today. There's Joe. Hold on. Let me pull up some Caspan and see what happens. That's not Caspan. I can show you guys this. I don't even bother. What is this? This is the president. Oh, this is interesting. Why are they filled in? Oh, still reporting votes. Okay, so these, the hashed, they're still reporting votes. Alaska will go for Trump. Here we go. Let's find the question and answer period, because I think there was one.
BNH, how can I help you?
Shh, quiet. Let's go forward here. See if it looks like he's taking a question there. Here we go. Yeah, he's taking questions. Okay. This looks like speech.
So we're going to get right to work.
Naive about how difficult.
Here we go.
that we're going to have. We're going to get through. I want to thank. We're going to take 5 questions or thereabout.
5 questions with Joe Biden.
Thank you, Mr. President-elect. During the campaign, you said you were not naive about how difficult it would be to unite the country. It's now 3 days after you were projected as the president-elect. The president himself says he has won this election. His own administration has not moved forward to give you access to what you need to do to begin the work of your transition. Just a few minutes ago, the Secretary of State, when asked if he would cooperate with a smooth transition, he said there will be a smooth transition to a second Trump
C-SPAN
administration. I wonder if you have a message for the president who may well be watching right now, and how do you expect to be able to work with Republicans when so many have thus far refused to even acknowledge your victory?
Well, first of all, we are already beginning the transition. We're well underway. And the ability for the administration in any way by failure to recognize this our win does not change the dynamic at all in what we're able to do. We've announced yesterday, as you know,
C-SPAN,
the health group that we put together today. We're going to be moving along in a consistent manner, putting together our administration, the White House, and reviewing who we're going to pick for the cabinet positions. And nothing's going to stop that. And so I'm confident that the fact that they're not willing to acknowledge we won at this point is not of much consequence in our planning and what we're able to do between now and January 20th.
You have a response to Secretary Pompeo, and I also wonder, you warned during the campaign that as the walls closed in on the president, he would behave more erratically. Yesterday, he fired his defense secretary.
Pompeo said that there will be a smooth transition to the Trump administration, but then he kind of laughed afterwards, and it's hard to tell with him. I think he was trying to be funny, but at the same time, he'll do everything in his power to make sure that Trump is still there.
On Twitter, are you worried that
Pompeo's got political ambitions, and if you want to hold on to that Trump base, you have to support him 1,000% because they're going to need him if you want to win an election.
He's disabling the government, and what are you saying to the world leaders who are calling you at this point about the situation here?
Well, first of all, I'm letting them know that America's back. We're going to be back in the game. It's not American alone. Number one.
Why didn't he tell that guy that he was a disgraceful reporter? That it's disgusting what he's asking.
I've had the opportunity.
That's what presidents do. If he wants to be considered president-elect, he's got to be harder on the press. The enemies of the people.
To speak with now 6 world leaders, and the response has been very.
Come on, C-SPAN.
Wholesome,
enough of this.
Energetic.
Seriously, C-SPAN's been doing this for 15, 20 years, where you play something and it pauses, and then it goes on.
They're all looking forward to being able to, from Great Britain to France, to Germany, to Canada, et cetera, and Ireland. So I feel good about the ability to. I said when we announced that the next president is going to inherit a divided country and a world in disarray. The reception and welcome we've gotten around the world from our allies and our friends has been real. I'm having a number of other calls to return, and so I feel too confident that we're going to be able to put America back in the place of respect that it had before.
Yes, sir.
Mr. President-elect, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has suggested today that he may not recognize the outcome of this election until the Electoral College meets next month. Have you spoken to your longtime friend in the Senate, Mr. McConnell? And what do you make of his specific...
What a lot of people don't know, Marcy, is that England, it's part of Great Britain. It's got a lot of names. It's got a lot of names.
Comments over the last 24 hours.
I haven't had a chance to speak to Mitch. My expectation is that I will do that in not too distant future. I think that the whole Republican Party has been put in a position, with a few notable exceptions, of being mildly intimidated by the sitting president.
Mildly intimidated.
But there's only one president at a time. He's president. We're going to have the Electoral College will be making their judgment in December. It'll be announced in early January. But in the meantime, I hope to get a chance to speak to Mitch.
If I could follow up, without transition funding, will you be able to go through with a proper transition that's needed? Would you like access to the PDB, and will you authorize legal action, or would that be too divisive, do you believe?
We can get through without the
funding.
The funding.
Yeah.
We're in a position that we feel very good about. There's nothing that slows up
He's having 5-second stutters. It's really sad, but he's fighting through it, and I really admire that.
our efforts to put things together. Obviously, the PDB would be useful, but it's not necessary. I'm not the sitting president now. And so we don't see anything that's slowing us down, quite frankly.
That's good.
Thank you, Mr. President-elect, and congratulations to you both. Have you tried to reach out at all to the president? And if he is watching right now, what would you say to him?
Mr. President, look forward to
speaking
with you.
Yeah.
And you say that you are being able to move ahead without interruption, but...
Oh my God, he's so boring. He hasn't said anything false or outrageous yet. We can't have this, people. We cannot have this little entertainment for the next 4 years.
To Jeff's point, presumably at some point you will need access to more classified information, secure facilities and the like. What options are you considering? How will you move ahead if the president continues to refuse to concede?
Well, look, access to classified information is useful, but I'm not in a position to make any decisions on those issues anyway. There's one, as I said, one president at a time, and he will be president until January 20th.
Yeah, maybe Hunter will be in the cabinet or something.
20th. It would be nice to have it, but it's not critical. And we're just going to proceed the way we have. We're going to do exactly what we'd be doing if he had conceded and said we've won, which we have. And so there's nothing really changing.
But not ruling out legal action?
No, I don't see a need for legal action, quite frankly. I think the legal action is, you're seeing it play out, the actions he's taking. And so far, there is no evidence of any of the assertions made by the President or Secretary of State Pompeo. Secretary of State Pompeo.
He says it to himself bemusedly, as if lost in thought. Just the notion of Pompeo, Secretary of State Pompeo. Joe was bemused for a moment.
Thank you, Mr. President-elect. Democrats are on...
Secretary of State Pompeo.
He was about to go into a dream state. What? Oh, yeah, that's right, people.
Thank you, Mr. President-elect. Democrats are on track to lose...
Oh, he's about to go off at this guy. He's about to go, yeah? Yeah? Who says that? Why don't you ask me about this? That's what the American people care about. What about that? No, follow the signs? I'm not going to follow the signs. If I wanted to follow the signs, I'd watch Star Trek.
A handful of seats in the House of Representatives. That could make it harder to pass legislation with just Democratic votes. And I'm just curious, how does that impact your plans for what priorities you think you can get through this Congress, especially if the Senate remains in GOP control? And during the lame duck, will you be coordinating with Speaker Pelosi on how she should be negotiating with Republicans?
Tell us that you have your own stimulus package, please.
Well, I've spoken to the leader, and I've spoken to the minority leader in the House. And one of the urgent things that need to be done.
Hold on, I can fix this. Stop right there, Joe, and...
Where are you going?
That's what a goddamn president does, Joe. He'll learn. He'll learn. It was Obama was always doing that.
Is people need relief right now. Right now. Small businesses, people who are about to be evicted from their homes because they can't pay their mortgage, unemployment insurance. You know, what's going to happen is you're going to see what people don't realize is the failure to provide state and local assistance. You're going to see police officers, firefighters, first responders laid off.
Ah, and I think see? He wants the police officers laid off. I knew it. We're getting somewhere now.
Sure.
I'm just going to listen to every third word. That's the way the Republican mind works, and things get really scary really quickly.
Is going to build, but the fact is that I would hope that the president at least has the sensitivity and knowledge to know that a lot of people are in real trouble between now and the time.
God, he's so bad at insults. Sensitivity and knowledge.
We get elected, till we get sworn in. And so it's my hope and expectation. I'm sure that the majority, the Speaker of the House, as well as the minority leader, are working right now into the priorities they have laid out.
But do you plan to be active in those negotiations, working with Speaker Pelosi to represent Democrats on the table?
Well, we've been talking, and they know my views, and I support what they're doing.
And then my second question was about the Senate. Do you plan to campaign in Georgia before your inauguration to help Democrats in the 2 runoff races there as they try to flip the Senate?
Okay. Here's what we do here. Here's your opportunity, Mr. Biden. No, you had your question. No, excuse me. You had your chance.
Where are you going?
It's sitting right in front of you. Use it. Okay, go ahead. Say it.
And how important is a Democratic-held Senate to your agenda?
Well, obviously, it'd be much better if we had a tie in the Senate, which means that this vice president become incredibly important beyond what she already is. But we're going to do anything we can that they think we can do to help.
And does the Democratic Senate help your cabinet chances? Does that change how you consider who you nominate to cabinet posts?
No.
I wonder if OAN even has somebody on the trail with Biden.
I don't think so. I take McConnell at his word. I understand he said that he will make it clear who he's prepared to support and not support, and that's a negotiation that I'm sure we'll have. Look, one of the things that I would do
negotiation. This guy just does not get this country.
As president-elect, and when I become president, is lay out to the Republicans as well as the Democrats who we intend
to
name for each cabinet position. I hope we're able to be in a position to let people know at least a couple that we want before Thanksgiving, and we'll just work this out. Look, I am not a pessimist, as you know, and I think there are enough Republicans who've already...
I'd be a terrible pessimist. I just couldn't do it. I would suck so much at being a pessimist.
...spoken out, but I think there'll be many more, not many more, there'll be a larger number once the election is declared and I'm sworn in to be able to get things done. I think they understand. For example, I can't
Yeah, what position is Hunter going to hold in the cabinet?
imagine there not being a willingness on the part of Republicans. There's going to be significant pressure to deal with health care. Their own constituencies are in that position. So I'm not, I think we can get a lot done.
Thank you.
And one last question from Meredith in the newsroom.
Sir, what do you say to the Americans that are anxious over the fact that President Trump has yet to concede and what that might mean for the country?
Well,
Dear Stanford University, I was afforded the opportunity to ask the President-elect of the United States a question. This is what he said.
I just think it's an embarrassment, quite frankly. The only thing that, how can I say this tactfully?
No! No! That's not what you're supposed to do! Sorry, doggy. I know I've been scaring the doggies tonight. I don't want to scare the doggies. I want all the doggies.
Will not help the president's legacy. I think that I know from my discussions with foreign leaders thus far that they are hopeful that the United States democratic institutions are viewed once again as being strong and enduring. And but I think at the end of the day, you know, it's all going to come to fruition on January 20th.
What's that mean? What does fruition mean? What?
And between now and then, my hope and expectation is that the American people do know and do understand that there has been a transition, even among Republicans who are people who voted for the president. I understand the sense of loss. I get that. But I think the majority of the people who voted for the president, a lot voted for him, a significantly smaller number, but a lot voted for him. I think they understand that we have to come together. I think they're ready.
Oh my God, he's got such boring digs, but they work.
To unite, and I believe we can pull the country out of this
disaster. Disaster. Say disaster.
Bitter
disaster.
Politics that we've seen for the
strongly, strongly disaster. Come on, man. You can do this.
Last 5, 6, 7 years.
And just to follow up on a previous question, how do you expect to work with Republicans if they won't even acknowledge you as president-elect?
They will. They will. Thank you all so very much. Thank you.
That was Trump-esque at the end there. I'm giving him one of these.
Where are you going?
What's going to happen? Oh, they will. They will. That was Trump. He's a cheerleader for the country. Okay, guys, I think that's probably enough for now. Maybe tomorrow. Let's see what happens tomorrow. There's all kinds of stuff going on. Supreme Court heard the Obamacare case today. It doesn't look like it's going to be overturned for a number of reasons, a couple of which we've discussed before. Number one, do the states have standing? In other words, are they somehow harmed by the existence of Obamacare? Questionable. Number two, does it have to be overturned because the mandate is unconstitutional? Well, here's the thing. In the Trump tax cut, they got rid of the penalty for the mandate. The mandate in Obamacare is everybody has to have health insurance, and if you don't have that health insurance, you have to pay X percentage of your income, be it 2% or something like that, every year, whether you get the health care or not. So people who chose not to have any health care were paying $600, $700, $800, $900 a year. It went up on a yearly basis, and not having any coverage whatsoever. That was their choice. In the tax cut, they got rid of that. And so a couple of the justices asked, well, if the mandate has no penalty, how does it hurt anybody? So that took a huge chunk out of the case. And then the third thing was, video's going great, Stephanie. The third thing was, and by that I mean I haven't done a thing. But the third thing, more importantly, was, now I've forgotten because now I'm thinking about the video. I haven't forgotten. Oh yeah, can you just take a piece out of Obamacare and leave the law itself? And the argument was, the whole thing's got to go. You got to strike the whole thing. But the judges said, well, look, they got rid of the mandate a couple of years back, and the law still exists. So do we really have to throw the whole thing in the trash? And if Congress wanted to throw the whole thing in the trash, because the Supreme Court will often end up just asking, what did Congress try and do with this? That's the whole point. What's the reason that Congress, that has the power to create the laws, does this? And is that unconstitutional? And they said, the Congress, if they wanted to overturn Obamacare, they could have overturned Obamacare, and they did not. There, that's on camera. You guys remember that. So I don't think they're going to overturn Obamacare. That being said, they could. We don't know. It's the Supreme Court, but it could take a while. If they did overturn Obamacare, oh man, would that be good? Because that would all but guarantee that we would have 2 Democratic senators voted in January in Georgia. Because then that gives people something. Hey, they're taking away your health care. We need to balance the court, not pack the court. That's the wrong messaging. We need to balance the court. Because what do Americans love more than anything when it comes to democracy? Oh, you guys are slow tonight. Oh, well, that's why, because you're on like a 12-second delay. It still hasn't asked. There we go. And fairness, there it is. Congratulations. Oh my God, Twitch is quicker than YouTube tonight. Lizzie's Flair, 30 pieces of Flair minimum. That's what Republic. By the way, I'm sorry, but that man is not president-elect. You know why? Because there wasn't 30 flags behind him. Lizzie wins. Okay, congratulations, Lizzie, on your victory tonight. I think that's about it. I might go play some Netsing. Oh, and burgers, cheeseburgers specifically, Joanna. I might go play some Netsing. Hey, for you vegan folks out there, Pizza Hut now has Beyond Sausage as a choice on their menu. I got an email saying that. It doesn't help the vegans because, of course, there's cheese. Boy, can you imagine if Pizza Hut actually goes vegan cheese at some point? That's going to be weird. Just going to be weird. Fairness. Congratulations, Chuck. Anybody who says fairness, I think it's just fair to give everybody points for that. Everybody gets that. Starbucks loves fairness? Oh, has Beyond Sausage. Starbucks does not like fairness at all. They are not about the fairness. They've had their issues. But now anybody can use the bathroom at a Starbucks. And honestly, that benefits me. And it's about time a middle-aged white guy got a break in this country. No, they have Impossible Sausage? Not Beyond Sausage? I didn't know there was Impossible Sausage, but that's cool. We're all a little morbidly obese. 30% of the country. I think I'm obese. I think I'm 25 on the BMI, whatever that means. Now the bunnies demand treats. That's so adorable, and I'm not even sure what it means. We all got to lose some damn weight, Lizzie. Speaking of which, maybe I'll just go netsing right now with Kevin Lee Daughter if she wants to play. Anybody else wants to do some netsing? I'm always fair. So yeah, I will see you guys, I'm guessing tomorrow, and maybe I'll work on the video tomorrow. I think I've taken enough sort of time off. I needed some brain healing, as you can tell. Now, guys, do you know who I am? If anybody names who I am right now, where's producer Rich Mack, by the way? What the hell, producer Rich? We were going to talk about t-shirts, but he's not here. So next time you guys see Mac. So do you know who I am? Does anybody know who I am? Now I'm coming up on the screen. Who am I doing? Who am I doing besides Jennifer Aniston? Oh God, that was supposed to be a secret. Oh, she's gonna be so mad at me. No, not Trump dancing. Trump dancing is what John Oliver, I think, called it like the guy. No, it wasn't John Oliver, was it? The guy in the gym, the naked guy in the gym locker room drying his neck with a towel. That's Trump dance. And that's true. Not the greatest American hero. No, nobody will get this. Yeah, baseball. Joanna got it right. So Tampa Bay, I want to say Lightning, but that's not it. Devil Rays in the World Series. He got in the Work Series. Yes, the Work Series. He got a hit to win the game, and then he just like ran around the outfield doing the airplane. He was so happy. And this guy was like a 167 hitter, never, like, he got traded in August. The other team was just like, you need to trade something? Do you have any, like a pair of size 8.5 cleats? We could use those. So he got to go to Tampa Bay and he got to win. He didn't win the World Series. He got to the World Series. But that moment was just a wacky 3 errors on one play that just, it'll blow you away if you ever have a chance to see. Oh, you know what? We might be able to watch it. I don't want to get in copyright trouble, but just so you guys know what I'm talking about. Tampa Bay airplane. Let's see if it comes up. Tampa Bay airplane. Okay, this is the holy smokes. What the hell happened here?
Realizing there's a better way to mobile.
By switching the spectrum,
Quiet, that's way too loud. Sorry, guys. Let me... Holy smokes. Volume was like 200%.
$15 a gig. Click.
Here we go. That's not good.
It was a scary sight for those who witnessed it.
Yeah.
Scott Murphy says...
Do you have to say that?
A low-flying plane caught his eye.
Oh, geez, and that's in 2002 as well. Of course, everyone at that point would think terrorism. Tampa Bay, is it the Devil Rays? Devil Rays. World Series. Game. Oh, walk-off single. That's what it was. Walk-off. Let's see. Brett Phillips. Yeah, it was Phillips. Here we go.
Jansen. That is into center field. Here comes Kiermaier.
Hold on. So this guy, he gets an error by not fielding the ball correctly. We're going to watch this kind of chunked up, and I'm going to take myself off the screen so you guys can see everything. So the first guy does not get the ball. This is a standard play.
Kiermaier. Phillips
goes to throw it before he gets it, right? So now guys are rounding the base. Picks up the ball, chucks it in. I'm going to take the sound off as well so we don't get a copyright strike. Gives it to that guy. This guy now has to throw it to the catcher. His job is to throw it to the left side of the plate, right in this area, right? That's where he's supposed to throw it. And this is a first baseman. These are all pros. His job is to throw it right here so that the catcher gets it with his left hand, which is the glove hand, and goes straight down. You want to create as little distance between... Well, it's obvious. I don't have to explain that to you. Watch what happens here. So we've already got the guy throwing it. And by the way, your pitcher at this point, and I think that's the pitcher right there. Was it? Hold on. Let's go back and check because I don't want to get this wrong. Yeah, that's the pitcher. Your pitcher at this point, okay? Your pitcher at this point, his job is to cover behind here just in case there's some kind of overthrow. Your second baseman or shortstop, as in the case with Alex Rodriguez, one of them is covering second base right now because there's a man coming around first. The spare guy, depending on the side of the field, would have been the shortstop in this case, should be running in to cover on this side or this side, depending on where the pitcher goes. But anyway, this is what happens. He grabs the ball. The ball is missed. Let me get rid of me again. Sorry, I just blocked that. Let me get rid of me again. Okay, so the ball comes in. It's coming in. It's thrown to his right side instead of the left side. Should be right here. It's being thrown right here. He never catches it, but he makes the sweep anyway to try and take the runner. Now, as that's going on, you're like, where's the runner? He just swept the runner. He doesn't have the ball, but the runner's not there. Watch the guy coming in from third base. He's not there. Oh, wait, why is he so far from the plate? So now the ball is headed over this direction, okay? That down here by this, it's gone this over here. That's where the ball has gone. And the runner's like, oh man, I thought I was going to be starting back in a pickle. No, watch what happens here. He comes in, he slides, he's safe. The game is over. He's happy. Watch. Now, this guy comes out of nowhere. Watch, he's so happy. Watch this guy. He comes out of nowhere. Woo! This guy's happy because he's like, there's no way I should have gotten here. And what we don't know yet is what happened to this guy. I'm coming back. Watch. He's so happy because they just won the game. Pitcher's like, oh, this guy, it's like his first game ever. He's doing airplane. And his teammates are just like, ah! They're all chasing him because they're so happy. Woo! Woo! This guy, the other guy does a cartwheel behind him. What happens? Listen to this guy. Watch this guy behind him here. I haven't even seen this part. He just dives. He doesn't just so happy. Woo! He just dives into the grass. So he's doing the airplane. Everyone's behind him. Yeah, there's Sandrice. He scored. He's so happy. Oh, they didn't even show it. Hold on. What's his name? Rosarena. Hold on, because we gotta watch what he does. There's more. That was Phillips. Because you guys have to see what happened coming from third base. Tampa Bay Devils World Series. Arose Arena. Okay. It was what? Game 4, right? Was it? Game 4. It was game 4. Game 4. That's 20. Did we just watch? We watched that. What game was that? That was game 4. 6 game highlight. Okay, we might have to sneak in here and get to game 4 to watch. Hold on, we got an ad playing. Skip the ads. So it would be, let's see, this is game. Go away. What game is this? Okay, so this is game 4. So coming up on the end of this. I don't know if we're going to see it. Series tied 2-2, so it would be right before this. Hold on. Okay, so he gets up, gets a pat on the back. This guy's upset. This is where we were. Okay. So Homer, watch it. Oh, God damn it. That whole exciting part of it is the fact that he thought he was done. He thought he just lost the game by what he did. Let's see. Yes, here it is right here. So here he goes. Boom. The pitch. This is so dumb. Why isn't anyone showing? Oh, okay. I saw the next one was full bottom of the 9th. Hold on. Let's go forward. We go to the end here. I'm sure you guys have all tuned out by now. Go back. There. Full bottom of the 9th. Let's go here. And we got to wait through the end of this ad. Yeah, the Dodgers won the World Series, so don't worry about that. Let's see if we can get... Okay, skip ad. Okay. Is this going to end the same? What? Why? No, just play. Right? Play. Okay. Now he's in the outfield. Why do they all cut it off? Oh, okay. So that they're just showing the replays. That's what they're actually. They are going to show this.
Brett Phillips.
Now they're showing an ad. Hold on. Is this the actual play? Okay, watch. Okay, good. Yep, they're showing this. They're showing that. We won. So I was rooting for the Dodgers in the World Series, but I loved that. And Airplane Guy will always remember that. Always remember that. I hope he comes back and wins a World Series at some point, because the amount of enjoyment he gave me from his little airplane thing, that's enough for me. Okay. So let that be a lesson to you. When you totally, and excuse my French here, when you F all the S up, when you're trying to win, don't give up, because the other guy might screw up even more. That's the moral of that story. So good times, everybody. It's been a good night, I think, and it's been a good day. And Biden's going to be the next president. I'm going to go see if anybody will play some netsing with me. That's tennis for you Americans. Take care of yourself, kids. We'll see you tomorrow.
Kevin, thanks for that.
Hugo sleeps.